Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's TCG, and I'm coming at you with a video. I know it's been a long while. I apologize for my voice. I have terrible allergies actually this season, and been losing my voice coming in and out just from all the sneezing and coughing. But yeah, things have been really busy. As you guys probably know, may not know, the brand has been doing really well, and so a lot of my focus and attention has been going into this constantly keeping up with the new releases for the customs. As you can see here, I'm featuring the artwork of one of the new artists, part of the TCG team, Rachel, who is doing fantastic work, by the way. And so, really cool stuff. But I just had to make this video because Purple Black Luffy has been a leader that I've been really enjoying. And with the release of the starter deck's just right around the corner, I do think this deck gets a huge buff in terms of its viability. And yeah, even within the EB02 meta, I don't think Purple Black Luffy was a bad deck by any means. I was playing it for most of that set, even though it's only been a month long. But yeah, I do think it has its legs even before then. But today I kind of want to primarily focus on what the new starters do for this deck and give you guys a deck profile and just kind of talk through where I think this leader will stand in the meta. And so for those that don't want to watch the video and the huge explanation, this is the deck list that I'll be starting with. Shout out to Cardi Kaizoku, who made this awesome deck builder. But yeah, this is the initial starting deck list that I'm going to be doing, and the ratios may change over time as I test it, but yeah, this is kind of where I'm going to start, and I'll adjust from here. And my plans for the future are to release updated videos, maybe weekly, just showing gameplay. I'll try to get some really good quality games on the meta matchups and just start talking through strategies. I know I did something similar with Bonnie in set 7, but I kind of want to do that in a more focused way for PB Luffy. And so you'll be seeing a lot of PB content from me. And so if you guys like that, make sure to follow, subscribe, like and comment, and we'll just converse and kind of crack this deck list together. But yeah, just a quick leader overview. So this is from set 9. Monkey.D.Luffy, and its effect is Dawn ×1, all of our characters gain +1 cost. And then on our turn, once per turn, when we return 2 or more Dawn cards from the field to our Dawn deck, we can add one Dawn card as active and add one as rested. So basically, if you de-ramp 2 or more, we can re-ramp that again, one active, one rested. Very strong leader ability. This allows us to play some really powerful cards while not sacrificing our ramp potential, right? And so we are purple and black, which are two really solid colors in this deck, or in this card game. And we have the 4 Emperors tag, as well as a Straw Hat Crew tag, and we are a 5,000 power leader. And so kind of talking about the strength and weaknesses of the deck as I was playing it. I do think, as far as strengths, this deck has some of the best mid-range removal. Things like Gum Gum Lightning allows to remove a 6k body for essentially 1 Dawn if we haven't used our leader ability yet, because the cost of it is 2, you Dawn -2, and then you re-ramp an active and rested from your leader ability. And so just being able to remove a 6k for basically 1 Dawn is unheard of. And so very powerful. But we also play things like the 5-cost Black Sanji, which, because of our leader ability, it can fulfill its requirement and make itself a 6-cost to remove a 5-cost. So we're able to remove our opponent's 5-cost on curve, which is really strong. And it's also strong into removal decks, right? Things like Lucci and Usopp. Anything that is, cost reduction and removal we are really strong into because of that +1 cost. It plays into effect way more and kind of skews the numbers where those opponents and those leaders have to expend more resources just to hit the same mid-range level stuff that we're playing on tempo. And that greatly increases our chances of into those matchups over time. And so really strong to that. This is also, I think, arguably the best leader to use the Gear 5 Luffy, the 10 drop that lets us take a second turn, because once we don -10, our leader ability sets back in. We're able to re-ramp to 2, and then we can use that 1 active don from the Gear 5 Luffy ability to re-ramp to 3, and then our second turn, we're already back to 5 don, which is really, really strong, right? And so, just from for swinging face, that means when we drop Gear 5 Luffy, we can swing 6k on that first turn, and then the following turn, we can swing 10k and then 12k, which is usually enough to close out a few games, but also because we're ramping so much, it allows us to pivot and kind of drag the game out even longer with the cards in the deck. And so it has a great late game as well. We have some of the best late game cards, being purple with all the support that we've been getting, and a great late game defense in Gum Gum Giant. We're able to kind of just pump out these bodies and then say, you can't kill me because I have Gum Gum Giant. And so really, really strong. Where I think some of the weaknesses are is that previous to the starter decks, we have very inconsistent ramp, where if we weren't seeing our 3-cost Zoro or Bone Clay, we're just playing at the same tempo as any other deck, which does hurt the power and acceleration of this deck. We do struggle into high aggro as well, so we could get rushed down, being a 4-life leader. Even with the removal that we have, sometimes if our opponent's going wide and swinging 5s at us, they can kind of arbitrarily kill us, right? Because most of our defense comes from things like our blockers and our Gum Gum Giant, which we don't want to be expending so early in the game. And the Blackbeard matchup was kind of atrocious for this deck. And so, Blackbeard being able to kind of shut off our on plays made it really tough. I do think in EB02 format, though, we had a little bit of a better matchup because of the EB02 Secret Luffy being able to swing twice. And so it did help that matchup a little bit, but I do think overall Blackbeard is still pretty atrocious. Let's talk about the new cards, though, and kind of what they do for those weaknesses, right? And so I do think the new starter decks really gave this deck a power boost because it does address all those weaknesses, right? And so, again, we have the starter 26 coming out, I think, next week. And one of the cards that we got is Nico Robin. 3-cost, 4k power. It has 2k counter, which is amazing, but its on-play effect is what allows us to be super consistent now. And so its effect is on play, Dawn -2. You may return the specified number of Dawn cards to your Dawn deck. Add up to 1 Dawn card from your deck and set it as active. So it has the same effect as the 3-cost Zoro, but now we have 2 searchable ways to ramp, right? And so previously we'd have to open with Law or Zoro in hand and hopefully search into the Zoro to ramp, or hope that we draw into the Bone Clay, which was unsearchable. But now we have Law that can grab both Nico Robin or Zoro Juro, meaning we have 8 hits total for the ramp. So we are hopefully going to be able to more consistently ramp on our turn 2, which will greatly increase the potency of this deck. And so the fact that it's also a 2k counter means it's also a great defensive utility in our hands. And so if we don't need the ramp, we can still just utilize it for that. And so I'm really excited for this card. This is a crazy 2k for the deck. It's going to be so good. And so this does address the inconsistency problem. And I think you'll feel that throughout your games. So definitely going to be running this at a 4 of, and definitely required in the deck. Next, we have the starter, the 6 cost Luffy secret, or super rare rather. It's a 6 cost 7k body, and its effect is on play and when attacking, you can don -2. And if your leader is multicolored and your opponent has 5 or more don cards on their field, your Straw Hat crew type leader base power becomes 7k until your opponent's next end phase. Yeah, so previous to this card, our 6 cost options were kind of limited in the previous iteration. You'd either want to drop your 5-drop Black Sanji that KOs, or kind of develop a blocker or ramp again with Bone Clay. And so, like, usually it was like between Frankie, Sanji, and Bone Clay, but now we have this really good 6 cost play that we can become a 7k leader while not sacrificing any of our Don count, right? Because our leader ability to set it back up is active. And so not only can we become a 7k leader, we can make this a 7 cost so that, because we have one more active Don to attach to our leader. And it's really, really strong. We're going to be swinging 8, letting this stay a 7, meaning it's really hard for your opponent to remove. And now when we attack with it, we're just going to stay a 7k leader. And so this is a really, really good answer to the aggro matchups, right? Where previously things like Zoro or Bella Betty could rush us down by, swinging those 5s, those 6s. But now we're sitting at a healthy 7k. It becomes a lot harder for your opponent to aggro rush you down, right? And so really, really strong card, and it addresses that big weakness of the deck. And it gives us that flexible option that we never had previously, right? And so fantastic card. I think this is a much needed addition to the deck. Honestly, like, I wouldn't have even pictured us getting a card like this, but it makes so much sense, and man, it fits so perfectly into the archetype and what the deck wants to do. Next, we have Soa Mask. This card is so goated. And I'm going to be going through kind of like in a future video all the combos that we can do. I've been thinking about it a lot, but let's talk about the Soa Mask. It's a 7 cost 9k body. And its effect is if you have a Sangoro or Sanji character with 7k base power or more, give this card -5 cost. It has an on play that says return all your Sangoro and Sanji characters to your hand. And so, and then this is a type Straw Hat character. So this is searchable. It's, if we have the 7k Sanji out, this becomes a 2-drop that we can play. And so on our ramping curve, by turn 3, let's see, we ramp 3 to 6 to 7. Yeah, so turn 4, we can usually have our Sanji out. Turn 3 if we're going second. And what's really cool is Sanji, the 7 cost Sanji that rests and rushes, you can play it out, get the value of it when you play it. Then on your following turn, you can still swing with it to get that 7k swing. We can play this Soba Mask for 2 costs, bounce that Sanji back into our hand, and then actually replay that Sanji out again to rest something else, and then it can swing 7 again. So now we have a 9k and 7k, both on the board. We've swung with that Sanji 3 times since we summoned it, and we still have a Dawn up that we can utilize because we get to reutilize the other 7 cost Sanji's effect, its on-play effect. And so very, very, very strong. But what I do like about this card, even more than those combos, is that I think this is the card that really, really, really helps our Blackbeard matchup. And so that third and last weakness that I saw on the deck, this card addresses, right? Because when we develop our Sanji the previous turn, if now going into kind of our later Dawn turns, our 9 or 10 Dawn turn, Typically, the Blackbeard player will always want to leader ability so that they can prevent the Nico from getting value or us from getting rushed from other cards like the Secret Luffy or just even another Sanji rusher. But now the Blackbeard player has to think, right? Because if they were to turn off our leader or our on plays, we still gain the benefit of this card being a 2-cost hand. And so there's a world where they shut off our on plays and you just drop 2 or 3 Soba Masks if you have them in hand. All for 2 costs each, right? So now our Sanji that we developed previously will stay on the board, but they could be staring down at, 2 or 3 more 9K swings. And so that's crazy, depending on how many we have in hand. But just the flexibility of that, I think will really, really, really help that matchup, right? So now the opponent really has to think about, do they want to negate on plays or not? And if they don't negate on plays, right, we don't actually have to play the Soba Mask. We have so many other cards in the deck that have great on plays, like the Secret Rush Luffy and our Nico, right? And so those can sometimes just be what closes out a game as well. So this card is really, really strong. Just its existence changes how that Blackbeard matchup fundamentally plays. And so really, really cool. I'm so excited for this. Man, I do think whoever made that starter deck for Purple Black Luffy, they must have really tested and saw like, all right, here are the weaknesses. Here are the 3 perfect cards to address those. So very, very happy with the deck. Let's see. So we'll still go over the remaining 2 cards. I think these 2 new cards are more nice to have than anything. If you saw in the deck list, I didn't include them in there because I just didn't have space in it yet. Not meaning that they can't end up in the final iteration, but I think they are more nice to haves than they are necessary for the deck to run. And it may switch depending on how the meta shapes out. Because I do actually really enjoy this Chopper's effect. But it's a 3-cost, 4K body, 1K counter, which is nice. It's a blocker, which is always well welcomed. And it has an on-play Dawn -2. Rest up to one of your opponent's Dawn cards or characters with the cost of 1 or less. So I think the characters with the cost of 1 or less is kind of relevant. I don't know how many 1-drops there are that are really utilized in this current meta, but resting your opponent's Dawn card could be a 3-drop answer into the opponent's Gum Gum Giant, right? And so if you're up against a purple deck, it's not a bad thing to sacrifice, because when we play this card, we Dawn -2. We're going to be ramping back 1 active, 1 rested. So really, we're resting 2 Dawn to rest your opponent's Gum Gum Giant, which could help us win out the game, right? And so I do see the value in that. But as far as spacing for the deck, this was the first one that I kind of cut just to kind of test out the cards that I am running. But I do see myself running this at a 2 of maybe in the future. I think in my previous deck list, I'm running 12 2Ks. So maybe I might drop it down to 10 2Ks, running 2 of these guys to fill in and see if that's necessary, right? And so, yeah. But very, very cool effect. I just think without some testing, this is like kind of like on the first face value, I'm okay kind of playing without. And so the last card is General Frankie. It's an 8-cost, 10K power, so another top-end card that we can play. Good stat line. It has no counter, though, which is okay. But it has an on-play Dawn -2. Give up to 2 of your opponent characters -2,000 power for the turn. And so, not a bad effect, actually. It's pretty nice. It's kind of like that Brook effect, but a little faster because you are... It's an on-play ability. But you are paying 8 Dawn for this card to come out. The cool thing is you can couple it with the Gum Gum Lightning to KO an 8K character, which is relevant, right? Because that starts to hit Rayleighs, that starts to hit, I don't know, like Hody and some other characters. Like I see even like the 8 drop kid in green. And so it does matter, right? It does have quite a few cool interactions, but you would be going down, you would D-ramp and then use leader ability for this, and you'd be going back down to 8 Dawn, which doesn't really matter because you ramp back to 10 anyway if you use Gum Lightning. But yeah, but I think as far as is this necessary, I don't think it was quite necessary for the deck. And so I am not including it in my current build, but I do kind of want to try it out just to see, like, maybe in a world where like we see more like Shanks and some other like games where we kind of want to just remove some of these higher end bodies. I do see a world where maybe I try playing this, but for now, it seems more like a nice to have rather than necessary. But again, as the meta shapes, this can all change. So thanks for listening, everyone. This is ending thoughts. I do think that P.D.Luffy is one of the biggest starter deck winners. I think Blackbeard is the other big winner. The other ones are kind of weird. We didn't see Yamato yet, but probably the ones that benefit the most are Blackbeard, PB, and probably Buggy. I think that Shanks actually helps RP Uta more than it helps Shanks. And I think that the Bonnie deck reveals help Green Yellow Law more than helps Bonnie, but that's for another video. But yeah, PB is definitely one of the biggest starter deck winners. I'm really excited to be cooking on this deck, and I'll be spending a lot of time just trying out various iterations and really figuring out the matchups into the other meta decks. I do think this can be a top tier deck in this upcoming format, at least a 1.5 deck in my opinion. And the cool thing is with black and purple, we have so many rooms for other tech cards that we can put in. Things like what I was testing before this deck list that I posted. I was testing like the one-legged toy soldier for Sanji to be able to KO an 8-cost character. Things like that. We can tech in and really figure out and have like a lot of flexibility as far as what we want the deck to address. But again, that really depends on how the meta develops. But yeah, would love to hear your thoughts. What are you most excited for? Are there cards that I didn't consider or maybe should consider? Let me know your thoughts on the initial deck list as well. But yeah, next video will probably be a few gameplay videos. And then I'll start to talk about any adjustments that I make to the deck. And then I'll start releasing guides on specific matchups. And so, yeah, I'll be on the lookout for that. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out my custom cards. We've been really growing that business a lot. Thank you for all who've been supporting it. I have a ton of new cards coming out soon. And so make sure to follow on X and Instagram so that you don't miss those drops. Especially things like playmats. I've been working with MetaMats, and so we did our first playmat release, and it was a hit. We sold out within the first, like, the initial batch that we ordered, we sold out within the first day, and so we decided to double the order quantity that I was producing, and so we sold out in the first, like, 2-3 days, and so, yeah, make sure to follow on socials so that you don't miss the next drop. But aside from that, thank you so much for watching, and Attica TCG out.